The mysterious doll. No one remembered when the doll first appeared in the house. It simply was there, sitting upright on the old wooden chair in the corner of the attic, its porcelain face turned slightly toward the narrow staircase, as if it had been waiting for someone to notice it. The attic smelled of dust, rot, and forgotten years, and yet the doll looked untouched by time. Its dress was pale blue, stitched with tiny white flowers, the fabric strangely clean despite decades of neglect around it. Its glassy eyes were an unnatural shade of gray, too alive, too aware. Thin cracks spread across its porcelain cheeks like veins beneath dead skin. Its lips were painted a faint red, curved into a smile that never reached its eyes. When Sarah first saw it, a cold shiver slid down her spine. She had moved into the old house with her husband, Adil, hoping for a fresh start. The house was inherited from Adil's grandmother, a woman no one in the family liked to talk about. Neighbors whispered about her, how she lived alone, how children avoided her gate, how lights flickered in her house long after her death. Sarah didn't believe in rumors. Not until the doll. The first night. That night, Sarah dreamed of whispers. Soft, childlike voices echoed in the darkness, calling her name again and again. Sarah, Sarah, come play. She woke up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. The room was silent except for the ticking clock on the wall. She turned to Adil, but he slept peacefully. Then she noticed it. The bedroom door was open. She was certain she had closed it. As she stared into the darkness beyond the door, a strange feeling crawled over her skin, a sensation of being watched. The air felt heavy, thick, like something unseen was breathing nearby. From the hallway came a faint tap, tap, tap. Small footsteps. Sarah held her breath. The sound stopped right outside the door. Then she heard it, a soft giggle. The doll moves. The next morning, Sarah went to the attic again. She needed to convince herself she was imagining things. But the doll was no longer sitting on the chair. It stood on the floor, closer to the stairs, its head tilted slightly, as if curious. Sarah's stomach twisted. She grabbed the doll, intending to throw it away. The porcelain felt ice cold, unnaturally heavy. As she lifted it, she noticed something carved faintly into its neck, tiny letters almost worn away. Let me stay. Her hands trembled. She dropped the doll. It hit the floor with a dull thud, but didn't break. That night, Adil laughed when she told him. It's just an old toy, he said. You're letting this creepy house get into your head. Sarah wanted to believe him. But when she woke up at 3:17 a.m., the doll was sitting on the chair beside her bed. Watching. The house watches back. From that night on, the house changed. Doors creaked open by themselves. Mirrors reflected movement where no one stood. The walls whispered at night, murmuring secrets in voices too small, too many. The doll appeared everywhere. In the kitchen, sitting on the counter. On the sofa, facing the television. Outside the bathroom door, waiting. Sarah tried locking it away. She wrapped it in cloth and stuffed it inside a trunk in the basement. The next morning, the trunk was open. The doll was back in the attic. Its smile seemed wider. Adil began to notice things too. He found muddy footprints leading from the attic to their bedroom. He heard laughter when the house was empty. He woke up with scratches on his arms, small, child-sized marks. Still, he refused to believe. Until the neighbors came. The truth revealed. An old woman from next door knocked on their door one evening. Her face turned pale when she saw inside the house. You shouldn't have moved her, she whispered. Moved who? Sarah asked. The doll, the woman said. She belonged to the child. What child? The woman hesitated, then spoke. Years ago, Adil's grandmother had taken in orphan children. One little girl never left the house. She was sick, lonely, and obsessed with her porcelain doll. When the girl died mysteriously, the grandmother buried her in the backyard, without a funeral, without a grave marker. The doll was never buried. They say the child's soul followed it instead. She just wants a family, the woman whispered. And she doesn't like being ignored. That night, the doll cried. Real tears streamed down its porcelain cheeks. The possession. Sarah began losing time. She would wake up standing in the attic, holding the doll. She found her name scratched into the walls. She spoke words she didn't remember saying. The doll whispered now, not in dreams, but aloud. I was lonely. I don't want to be alone again. You'll stay with me, won't you? Adil tried to destroy it. He smashed it with a hammer. The porcelain cracked, but inside was not stuffing or wood. It was flesh. The doll screamed. The lights exploded. The house shook. When the dust settled, Adil was gone. Only the doll remained. Perfect again. The final night. Sarah tried to escape. The doors sealed shut, the windows bled black shadows. The walls closed in. In the attic, the doll sat waiting. "You promised," it said in a voice no longer childlike, but ancient and cruel. Sarah felt her body stiffen, her reflection in the mirror changing. Her skin hardened, turning pale and smooth. Porcelain. Her scream froze in her throat as her mouth curved into a painted smile. By morning, the house was silent. Neighbors later saw a woman sitting in the attic window, perfectly still, eyes glassy, smiling. Beside her sat a new doll. And somewhere inside the house, a child laughed. Epilogue. The house is for sale again. The attic is locked, but sometimes, late at night, passers-by swear they hear a soft voice calling from within. "Come play with us." The house did not remain empty for long. Within weeks of Sarah's disappearance, a new family moved in, unaware of the screams that still clung to the walls like invisible stains. They said the house felt quiet, but it was the kind of silence that pressed against the ears, thick and watchful. At night, the attic light flickered on by itself, glowing faintly like a trapped star, and from the street below, silhouettes could be seen standing unnaturally still behind the dusty attic window, two shapes now, never moving, never blinking. Inside, time had stopped. Dust never settled in the attic anymore. The air there was warm, breathing. The porcelain woman sat perfectly upright in a rocking chair that moved without wind, her painted smile frozen in eternal obedience. Beside her rested the doll, small hands folded politely in its lap. If anyone dared to look closely, they would notice something horrifying. The doll's eyes blinked, slowly, lovingly, as if admiring its creation. Sarah was still alive inside the porcelain shell, trapped behind glassy eyes, screaming silently every moment, but the doll never let her rest. It whispered constantly, reminding her that families stay together forever. The new family's youngest child, a little boy named Hamza, was the first to hear the voice. At night, when the house slept, he heard gentle knocking inside the walls, followed by soft humming. The tune was broken, old, and wrong, like a lullaby sung through a cracked throat. Each night the voice grew closer, clearer, sweeter. It told him stories about a lonely girl who wanted a friend, about a house that hated being empty, about toys that came alive when no one was watching. Hamza began sleepwalking, his small feet carrying him toward the attic door again and again, his face blank, eyes open. But unseeing, his mother noticed scratches appearing on his arms, thin red lines shaped like tiny fingers. She blamed nightmares. His father smelled something rotten near the attic stairs, like damp soil and old bones, but whenever he tried to investigate, a crushing pressure filled his chest, forcing him back. The house did not want adults upstairs. Only children were welcome. One night, Hamza finally reached the attic. The door opened silently, and warm light spilled out like a welcome. The doll stood waiting, its porcelain face cracked wider than before, eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. It stepped forward on stiff legs, its shadow stretching across the floor in a shape far larger than its body. Behind it, the porcelain woman rocked slowly, her eyes pleading, tears of blood sliding down her frozen cheeks. Hamza smiled, hypnotized, as the doll reached out and touched his forehead. The house screamed. Walls split open, revealing handprints pressed from the inside. Faces pushed through the plaster, mouths open in endless agony. Voices cried out, men, women, children, all begging, all trapped. The attic floor cracked, releasing the smell of graves long forgotten. The doll laughed, no longer pretending to be a child, its voice layered with dozens of others, ancient and hungry. It did not want toys anymore. It wanted souls. By morning, the family was gone. Police found no signs of struggle, no blood, no bodies. Only the attic was different. Now, three figures sat together in silence, a porcelain woman, a small boy-shaped doll, and the original doll standing proudly between them. The family had grown. The house closed its doors again. And deep inside the walls, something whispered happily, waiting for the next visitors.